sure to cook.
Welcome back to another episode of Be Sure to Cook. Today, we're going to be making a salmon croquette, homemade. So stay tuned and let's do this. Okay, I'm starting off fresh with an Idaho potato. These are usually potatoes that you bake. You just get the Idaho or a rusted potato. I'm going to peel this as I go because I'm going to chop this up and I need to boil this potato into nice little chunks. Okay, so I'm just going to chop this potato up in nice small chunks. I don't want them really big fat pieces of chunks. You know what I mean by chunks, I want them small because I want this potato to be diced in small little chunks. And I'm going to show you what I mean by when I dice it. Okay, I already rinsed my vegetables. That's why they're glossing. I just need a half of everything. A half of red bell pepper, a half of green bell pepper, which I've got it right here. Okay, I'm just going to dice these red bell peppers up. And I'm going to dice up the green bell peppers. We'll get those all nice and diced up. And then we'll put these inside of our salmon. Okay. Okay. Okay, just going to dice these up. You don't want them big and you don't want them too small. You want them in a nice little size because you want to see your peppers inside your salmon. That makes it look pretty and it makes it look great. I want them the same size as the other ones. If not, you can make them like that by chopping them up a little bit more. Okay, I got some good old white onion. Or you can use yellow onion. You can use any kind of onion you want. It is your salmon. And it is your croquette. So I just use white onion. I love the taste of white onion. I use yellow onion. I use all different types of onions. Purple onion is good too. If you wanted some little, some extra color, you can always do that. Okay guys, this is the fresh salmon that I was talking about. I prepared the salmon yesterday and had a whole meal with my family. And we had a lot of salmon left over. And so I took the salmon and I put it in a bowl and I put it in the refrigerator, and I thought I have to do something with this overleft salmon, and I'm going to make croquettes. This is a fresh salmon that I've prepared that I'm going to show you how to make croquettes. And to make this salmon, watch this. Okay, I just rinsed off my salmon and I got it sitting there and letting all the water get off the salmon. But in the meantime, we're going to get ready for our roasted potatoes. So I'm using 1/2 teaspoon of smart balanced butter, and there it is. It's for cholesterol. If you have little low cholesterol, it helps with good heart cholesterol. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of that, and I am going to take this and I'm going to melt it. Okay, now here is my melted butter. I just put it in the microwave for a couple minutes. I'm going to take 1/2 clove of garlic, chop that up, and I'm going to put that in there into my melted butter. And I'm taking also a little of extra virgin olive oil, the light kind, and I'm adding about maybe a teaspoon of that inside there, and I'm mixing that up. Then I'm going to add some white pepper. Got white pepper that I'm going to add a little bit of that in there. Just sprinkle that in there because you're going to be adding black also, just for color. Let's add that black right now. And you can add as much as pepper as you want. I'm using fine cracked pepper, and I'm going to add in there for color because I've already have, you know, a little bit of that. I'm going to add a little garlic powder. I know I've got fresh garlic in there, but garlic powder just, to me, it's I know fresh is better, but garlic powder just brings it out. It's been sitting and cracked and aging and just brings it out a little bit more for me. And then, of course, my famous, guys, all seasons of all seasons I like. Doesn't have any salt or anything to hurt you. For people for healthy hearts, you know, Mrs. Dash Blend. Come on. Yeah, put a little bit of that in there. Maybe 1/4 teaspoon of that. And then what I'm going to add is I'm going to add some good old parsley. You know, dry parsley, chopped parsley, fresh parsley, if you want. I'm using dry because I'm going to get this all into this, my mix here. And I'm going to sit, oh, it smells so good, guys. And another little thing that I'm thinking I'm going to put in there to do, I got some new stuff here that I thought it was good. And it's really good for people that, you know, can't use a lot of salt or get a lot of stuff going on with their heart or just, you know, having high blood pressure. This stuff is pretty good. It's called Danos, and this is the original blend, and it's low sodium, so it doesn't have a lot of sodium in it, and it's a lot of natural herbs in here. It has all kind of things, and it's good on fish, chicken, steak, seafood, you know, vegetables, potatoes, and whatever, what I'm doing today. So I'm going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of that in there. And I'm going to mix this all around. Okay, this is my salmon fillet. And this is a wild salmon. So I'm just laying this down on my butter with the stuff that I put on. And as you see, the butter around it is much wider, but that's okay because when this sucker gets to bake, the juices of the salmon with the butter is going to come out and it's going to be delicious. So let's clean up and let's finish doing the salmon. All right. Once again, when you're doing your salmon, you can use whatever seasons that fit you best. But I happen to think these are great seasons. I've had them and it's got so much great flavor. I got a little Dano seasoning that I was using. This is the original Dano seasoning. And I'm just going to sprinkle over this salmon. So I'm doing about a 1/2 tablespoon because this has got everything you would put on fish anyway. And I'm just going to sprinkle that because you're going to be sprinkling other seasons. So you don't want to overpower the fish, but you want to get some seasons in there. I'm just going to sprinkle that. Okay. Then we're going to do the lemon pepper. And the lemon pepper is kind of like strong. So you just want to do maybe a 1/2 tablespoon of that. And you want to sprinkle that over there also. Oh, it's going to be so moist and so good. And once you get these seasonings on here, all right, yeah, it's going to be like, wow. And of course, my Mrs. Dash. Want to do that too. Sprinkle that over. So you got all these different seasons that's going on this fish. And then, of course, your cracked black pepper. You can do fine. You can do the regular cracked pepper. Or you can do coarse if you want. It's up to you. Just sprinkle a little bit. Because some of these seasons do have black pepper in it. But hey, pepper is pepper. So a lot of it won't hurt you. Makes it better for you. There you go. What you're going to do is you're going to fold this up. So let's get to folding this up. Okay, in a large bowl, I'm going to take the salmon and I'm going to chunk it up. And don't forget, it still has the season that I put on it. And this season that I put on this is a season that I made. I love different seasons. So I took all my seasons that I like to use, some of them that I like to use, and I made my own. So this is how it should be. Here, this is this juice that I had made this salmon with. I'm going to add a little bit, and I'm saving it because I want it to be nice and moist. So let's go ahead and rinse off my hands, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I'm going to add my peppers inside here, and I'm going to add, I got extra peppers, but I didn't want a lot of peppers. So I'm going to add my peppers. I'm going to add 1 egg. And usually if you do a can of salmon, you want to add 1 to each can. So I've got 1 egg to, I'm saying this is about maybe a can because it's kind of like really fluffy. Maybe I can use 2 eggs. It depends on how you want it, but I just want a binder. I want to actually taste the salmon. I don't want a lot of filling. Okay, I got about a tablespoon of Besureto Seasoning Blend. Guess what, guys? That is my seasoning. And it's no salt. It's got everything that you want in it. It's got vegetables. It's got herbs and spices, everything. It's called Besureto Season Blend. It will be coming out soon, and I will let you all know when it debuts. Besureto Season Blend. Okay, now I'm just going to mix this up with my hand. So I'm just going to squeeze the egg and all the salmon up with all the vegetables with my hand. Or if you want, you can use a fork, but I think using your hands is so much better. So let me tell you why I want to use my hands. Because you can feel that it's, you know, incorporated just right. So I am a person that likes to use my hands. Okay, and make sure all that seasoned blend that I have in there is good. And remember, guys, there's no salt to be sure to season. There's no salt at all. So if you want salt, you have to add salt. So that eliminates different salts. So if you want to use kosher salt, sea salt, or even if you have iodine salt, if you want to use that, you can, because it's salt-free and it has everything you need in it. Vegetables, it has spices and herbs and everything, and it blows your food right out of the water. And once you put it in, and put it on your food, or put it in your food, like salads, cold or hot salads. I would do hot salads or cold salads, either one, both of them. Fish, beef, chicken, pork, it all works. I made a season that it goes with anything. Now, you can also tell when you do a fresh salmon, look how pink that is, because that's really fresh salmon, and this goes a long way. Remember those potatoes? I cooled them down, and I got the starch off of them. I'm going to add some potatoes in here, and then some of these potatoes I'm going to just take a little squeeze to. Not a lot. I'm just pulling those potatoes down because I like to have chunks of potatoes also inside of my mix. So I'm going to add some more, leaving the chunks in. Just a couple squeeze because you don't want it. You want the potatoes in there, and believe it, it makes more salmon than you will know. So I'm using that whole potato. But I'm going to do a little squeeze to the potato, just a little, but still leaving the chunks in, but still giving a little smush to the potatoes also. And I'm just going to fold that in and make sure that every potato is equally blended with the salmon. So don't leave nothing out. Make sure it's all blended and it's mixed thoroughly. Okay, I put a little bit of olive oil here. I'm going to add some more olive oil. I'm going to add about one-third cup of olive oil in here because I want to fry these. And olive oil is really good to fry, and I've got my pan up. That's about it. This is about maybe one-third cup of olive oil in here. Okay, I have my cornmeal, and you can go on my fish, any of my fish dishes that I'm frying fish, and you can see how I make this cornmeal. So this is my cornmeal that I've already made. I'm going to take it and see how the potatoes stick down in there. That's the way you want it. I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to make a patty out of it. And this should be wonderful. And then you make it, and all I'm going to do is just kind of flour these patties inside of my cornmeal. Make sure I get a good coating on both of them. Now these and you can just look at this and tell. Fresh salmon is just as well as the can, because all they do, it's the same thing. All they do is cook it and prepare it, put it in a can, and they cook it and steam it in the can. When the cans come out, they let the cans cool, they package them, and they send them out. So everything is just nice and fresh, just like this. And I want to make sure I get a nice good coating of the cornmeal on each patty. Then I want to flop that around and make sure I got no cornmeal loose on there. And I'm going to put that down into the into the pan. I'm going to do the same until I fill up my pan. Now, people say don't crowd your pan, but for me, when I cook, if I don't have a full pan of meat or a full pan of what am I frying, it always tends to burn on me. So I like to make sure my pan is nice and ready to go. And I want it to all stick together where I have a whole pan full of, these patties so they won't burn. I usually do 4 to a pan. Okay, another thing, guys, here's my 4th one, 4 to a pan. Another thing that I like to say, a lot of people like to, when they make their croquettes, some people use crackers, some people use breadcrumbs, and it's good to use whatever you want. But I do not like the bread because bread usually dries out your meat and dries out a lot of different meat. A lot of people use it in meatloaf. Once again, I can do it in meatloaf a little bit, but if you do it, don't try to use a lot of it because it does stretch it and it ruins the flavor of your meatloaf or the flavor of what you put it in because you're using too much. If you do, just use like a small handful if you want. Okay, I'm about to flip over my croquette. Try not to break it, which I never do. Well, I need to make sure that crust is like that before you flip. That's the only thing, guys. You're going to make sure. I always take the grease and there we go. All right, nice and brown on one side, nice and brown on the other side. Okay. All righty. I'm gonna take this over and flip this over a little bit more. Look at that potato, guys. See that potato coming out? That's like a fried potato in there. Oh my God. Got a little crispy where some of them had actually, coming out. Look at that potato falling back out. Look at that potato. Oh, that's gonna be good. It goes right in there, but the crust is right here where it broke off and it's just oozing on out of there. And here we go. Fresh, homemade salmon croquettes. Making it fresh salmon and making them right away. You can make this salmon early in the day, wait till the salmon cools down, and you can make it right away. Or you can have that with that salmon for dinner, and whatever you have left over, you actually take it out of the refrigerator, flake it up, and do exactly what I did. I hope you enjoyed this dish today, homemade salmon patty cakes with homemade salmon fresh from the sea, fresh from your store or wherever you get it fresh. Cook it just like you've seen it on today's show. I hope you all enjoyed this dish. I hope you come back for more dishes. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I love you guys. See you next time. Bye.